Hello everyone, welcome to my Mimosa. If you are new here, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Welcome back to my Mimosas, y'all. So in today's video, we are going to be doing a small little meal, whatever you call it, a little snack, little whatever you want to call it. Today we are going to be cooking nachos. We're going to be making nachos. This is the way I do it. This is the way my mother did it. So I'm following along with her. So
y'all come for me, y'all come for her. And if y'all come for her, I'll come for y'all.
I'm just playing, for real. But anyhow, so we're gonna get right into it. It's real simple, real easy for you guys to do. You know, if you guys want to start with a little small dish, you know, this is somewhere to start because it's real simple. It don't cost for a lot of stuff. So what I got here is I got a pan of a little tad bit of olive oil because the create its own grease, so you don't have to worry about adding grease into the pot or anything. But for me, during the safe part, I do add a little bit of olive oil. So right now I got it on a really low heat, and I'm letting the pan heat up right now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that back up. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my ingredients and everything that I got sitting out. These are all my little ingredients that I have out. This is the ground beef that I will be using. I usually don't use this one, but this was the only one I found at the store, and the store that I went to had. And for nachos, you always gonna need your Rotel. And the cheese we're using is Velveeta. I always like the Velveeta. My parents always use Velveeta, so that's what we're gonna be using. And these are the little seasonings that I got for the meat, because you know you can't have the meat completely dry. So I got some garlic powder, some black pepper, onion powder, a little bit. You're not gonna use too much of the cayenne pepper, but this is cayenne pepper to make it a little spicy, and paprika, and salt. Please don't judge me. Please do not talk about my seasonings. Please do not judge me. Please do not judge me. So now I'm going to get back over to the skillet so we can add the meat into the skillet. So one thing you always want to do with your meat is always chop it up with a spoon or a masher, or potato masher, whatever you want to do. Always make sure you chop it up real small, real little tiny, so you can always, so it won't be so thick in the nachos when you get ready to bite down on it. And another thing is you always want to cook it until it's well done, or however you want, like your ground meat. But always make sure you cook all the pink out of the meat first before you go to seasoning and doing all that. Once you cook all the pink out, you can add your seasoning and do everything that you want to do to your meat. And that's pretty much it. So you guys can go ahead and continue to watch, and I will catch you at the end. Okay, so now this is where I go in with my seasonings. You can still see a little pink, but that's okay. Just make sure once you get through seasoning, you will always make sure you mix the rest of that up so it can cook out. Now, the first thing that I just add was cayenne pepper. You can add your own, however much you want to add on your own preference. I was just doing eye level it at the moment, but I added paprika. The first two you saw was paprika and cayenne pepper, black pepper, and not too much, you know, I'm just eyeing it. And I added salt with a little bit of onion powder and a little bit of garlic powder. You can do any season you want, but just make sure you don't over season it too much. But yeah, so and see, I am now mixing it up and make sure all the pink is gone before I transfer it over to the meat drainer, to the grease drainer, and you guys will see that in a little bit. Okay, so now this is how you drain the grease from the meat. You always want to drain the grease because you don't want no grease in your nachos and your cheese. So what you want to do is always take your meat, pour it straight into the drain. Make sure you have a bowl or something under it so it can catch the grease. So you make sure you don't leave any meat out. And that's all you do. you just make sure you scrape it over into the strainer, the strainer, and let all that grease just run out into that bowl. Now we're back over to the stove. You want to transfer your meat back into your pot. If your pot is still a little warm, leave it on. Make sure one thing is you want to leave it on low heat, really low. So all you do now is take the lid and cover your meat up until the cheese sauce is done. So now what you want to do is cut up the cheese. I only took half of the cheese out because I wasn't going to use all of it. So what you want to do is cut it into little bitty squares. Or however you want to cut it, however you want to cut your cheese. I can't tell you guys how to do it. But it mostly depends on how many people you feed. You guys saw the block that I had. And if you're using a block like that, you would want to use the whole block if you're feeding more than 8 people. Maybe more than 6 or 7. But I'm not feeding that many, so I only used half of the block of cheese. And so you want to cut it up real. You can cut it up however you want to, but my preference is cutting it into little bitty squares. Now we are putting the cheese into crack that. And pour it in there. About a half a cup. So now while I let that sit over here and melt and do all we do, we're going to be back within 20 minutes, maybe less. And we'll be back to see the nachos. Okay, so now we are back. The cheese has fully melted. And one thing you always want to do with your cheese is always make sure it is fully melted. No lumps. So I will go in there with a whisk and mix it up to make sure all those lumps are gone. So now we want to apply the meat. Apply the meat. And then the roast tail. Mix that all in. Okay, so now everything that is done, the cheese is done, everything's done. Now we are going to. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you guys in the next video.